All right, man, we back up in here for another reaction. This time we're gonna be looking at Dusty Locane, the Pop Smoke clone. Pop Smoke died. Pop Smoke passed away maybe about a couple years ago. I believe it was 2020. And amazed, like very incredible artist. Um, I'm almost kind of mad at myself for catching his music a little late in his before his untimely demise. But very unique voice. He almost kind of he had a unique style. You know, people compared him to 50 Cent because of just the way he rapped. Um, but in general, very original. Not a lot of American rappers were really doing that like UK drill sounding thing, and then basically once Pop Smoke got a hold of UK beats, started rapping over them, they created a whole genre behind Pop Smoke and called it New York drill. And that is all because of the man you see right here. And this guy, Dusty Locane, I have never heard. I've heard of him, but I've never really heard his music before. So let's just get into it.
Pop Smoke's death left a hole in the Brooklyn drill scene
Rest
that
in
will never
peace,
be
Pop
filled.
Smoke.
But some fans think Dusty Locane comes the closest. Some call him a pop clone, and others even think they're related. But Dusty had a wild come up in the streets before he broke out in 2020 and started blowing up. But before he could hit the mainstream, Dusty got booked on a weapons charge and is sitting behind bars right now. And today, we're breaking it all down. Let's get right into it.
He in jail right now?
Dusty grew up in the Canarsie neighborhood of Brooklyn, which isn't as wild as some areas of the city. A lot of drill rappers got active in the streets at a young age because they came from broken homes. But Dusty grew up in a good household and didn't have to provide for himself as a kid, but he was still exposed to the streets. Before he even thought about hopping in the booth, Dusty thought he was going to make it to the NBA. Basketball is what kept him in school.
That's usually how it goes
Scholarship.
for
Well, basketball
most
kept him
rappers
focused
for
enough
some
to make
reason, bro. That's usually how it goes for most rappers. Most rappers are either gonna be a football player or a basketball player, and then somehow they turn to rap. I don't get it. Like the standards of living for young black males. I don't know, man. Especially in low level neighborhoods, man. Like I don't know. We have to get out of this level of thinking, man. I hate that for us. I hate that it's a basketball player, a rapper, a football player. Like you can't never like it ain't no computer programmers out there that live in these neighborhoods. Like y'all want to do we really want to just keep on staying stuck to the statistic that you know those other folk put on us? Like I know we better than that. Sad, man.
through high school. College was a different story. When Dusty got to college, it didn't take long for him to start getting in trouble.
He went to college?
His dream of making it to the NBA wasn't enough to keep him disciplined, and he ended up getting kicked out after just one semester. He didn't have any other goals besides basketball, so when that opportunity was ruined, Dusty...
And by the way, I just want to say, since it said that he got to college, that's great, by the way, to hear that he actually made it to college. Like, he was really that serious about the dream of wanting to make it to a professional level of basketball, that he was in college. And then it brings me back to thinking, like, 2 Chainz went to college. I believe he went to college for basketball. God, there was one more person I just thought of that went to college. What is his name? ESTG. He played football in college, and now Dusty Locane. That's good. At least you made it to college, man. You know? Some people don't even make it past high school, let alone middle school.
Didn't know what to do. His parents both had normal jobs, but Dusty decided to take another route. Even though he wasn't active in the streets as a kid, he grew up in the environment and knew how to move. So after college and basketball didn't work out, he went back to Brooklyn and got down with the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips. Dusty knew the consequences that came with the
So let's get this straight. So he comes from a fairly good upbringing, lives in a fairly good neighborhood, has a dream of playing basketball, makes it all the way to college, comes back to the neighborhood and starts to beseech the crab in a bucket mentality that keeps people in the streets. So much so that it takes people out in the street or puts people behind bars because of the street. And he decided to do that. Man, it's crazy, bro.
streets, but he didn't expect it to come back on his family too. What's crazy is that his dad was a cop in the city for years.
Oh, okay.
Then he became a detective. After
That's
Dusty
different.
really got active and his name became known in the trenches, his dad ended up having to retire from the force. Dusty didn't have any long-term plans. He just started hustling to support himself after his basketball dreams were over. But it didn't take long for the chance. He just started hustling. Dad ended up having to active. After Dusty really got active and his name became known in the trenches, his dad ended up having to retire from the force. Dusty
That's crazy. His dad was a police officer and retired from his job because his son was active in the street. What did I guess he decided he wanted to retire because he didn't want to have to arrest his son, or he didn't want to have anybody in his precinct arrest his son? Man, that's crazy, bro. This is actually pretty interesting.
He didn't have any long-term plans. He just started hustling to support himself after his basketball dreams were over. But it didn't take long for the streets to catch up to him. After he got booked and had to chill out for a little while, Dusty knew he needed to switch up how he moved. That's when he decided to record his first track, and everything changed. In August 2020, Dusty dropped Rollin' and Controllin' and popped off immediately. The song ran up huge numbers from the jump and had Dusty buzzing. Then he followed it up with the track Rolando and blew up even more. After his first two tracks racked up hundreds of millions of plays,
Was he rapping by like Pop Smoke at this time?
Game. He stayed on the grind in 2021 and didn't slow down at all. None of his new tracks went as viral as Rollin' and Controllin' or Rolando, but he was still getting millions of streams and building up a solid fan base. He dropped his debut album later that year. Then in 2022, he dropped a collab tape with Ron Suno, Ross Swish, and On Point like OP. But while he was popping off and becoming one of the hottest new rappers in the Brooklyn drill scene, some people called Dusty out for copying Pop Smoke's style. Before his tragic murder in 2020, Pop Smoke was the biggest artist putting on for Brooklyn.
You know?
His unique style and deep voice set him apart from everyone else in the game, and he was on the way to becoming a superstar before he was killed. A lot of people accuse Dusty of jacking Pop's style and trying to ride his wave. It's wild how similar their voices are, but that don't just make Dusty a clone. When people first started making accusations, Dusty just laughed it off, but eventually he revealed that him and Pop have a lot more in common than just their voice. Dusty and Pop both grew up in Canarsie, and they even went to elementary school together and were on the same basketball team. According to Dusty, Pop was always a wild kid who was already smoking Black and Miles back then and getting in trouble. And while basketball kept Dusty in school all the way into college, Pop got kicked off of their elementary team for disrespecting the coach. There was also rumors Pop Smoke and Dusty were actually cousins, but it turns out Dusty just referred to Pop as cuz one time and didn't actually claim they're related, but fans just ran with it. Even though he's been accused of sounding like Pop just to make it in the industry, Dusty told Future's TV,
or like when Pop got lit, I didn't try to, I grew up with him, I know him. Cause I feel like you gotta give people, this his shine, it's his time.
He told Hip Hop DX he was the biggest to do it. When he dropped that, you can't say nothing. All you gotta say is, cuz, I wish you was still here. If it's another comment besides that, they a hater. Drill fans ain't the only people sending shots at Dusty though. 22G's called him out on social media and accused him of being an industry plant because he's never seen him in Brooklyn. But 22G's and Dusty aren't just rivals in the rap game. They both have street ties that automatically makes them ops. Dusty reps the Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips, and the set he's affiliated with belongs to a Crip alliance called 100 Clock, and he shouts them out on tracks like Rolando with the line, "I'm Dusty Rollin' from the clock, and I can surely get you shot. Don't play, you talk to cops, and now you turn into a stain, a op."
I mean, I'm pretty sure the whole entire thing with Bro is not just a him copying Pop Smoke thing. I'm sure it's a neighborhood thing. I'm sure it's a in the neighborhood thing as well. Like, bro, are you purposefully sounding like Pop Smoke, or is that really your actual voice? I'm sure, bro done got that question like a dozen times for people in his neighborhood. Like, is that really you, or is it just you trying to sound like, you know what I'm saying?
The 100 Clocks are under the umbrella of an even bigger gang called the Wu, which Pop Smoke was also affiliated with. The Wu started out as a crew called Wave Gang, while their rivals, the Chos, used to be called the Hood Stars. Back in the day, both sets were cool and there was no issues, but everything went downhill fast after the cops arrested a ton of members from each side in a case called Operation Tidal Wave. After that, they all started going by the Wus and Chos, and have been at war ever since. Bobby Shmurda is the first Wu rapper who really popped off. He reps GS9, which is a set known for beefing with the Cho gang called the Blickies, which is the same set that 22G's reps. After Bobby Shmurda got booked, there weren't any big rappers from either side making waves. But in 2016, 22G's popped off with the track Blicky and put the Chos
all
back
the way
on
in
the map.
2016.
The next year, he blew up even more off the track Suburbans. Then, Chef G clapped back with No Suburbans and made it an official rap beat. Chef ain't with the Wu, but he was cool with Pop Smoke and other Wu affiliates. For a minute, 22G's was the only dude from the Cho vs. Wu beef who was really putting on with the music. But in 2019, Pop Smoke dropped Welcome to the Party and became the biggest drill rapper in the city overnight. 22G's called Dusty an industry plant after he popped off, but as of right now, he's never had a major deal. He signed a distribution deal with Empire Records, but he wants to stay independent and have control over his career. And in an interview
Empire
with
Records?
Nocturnal.com, he said, getting a team like Bobby and everybody at Empire was definitely a blessing.
Oh no.
It took a lot of weight off my shoulders.
Better
but
be
at
careful.
the same time, it gave me the freedom
Empire
to do as I
Records?
please. Having creative control, I believe every artist should
Better
have.
be
I'm
careful.
appreciative for that. This independent work is not a walk in the park. You got to be ready for the bumps and bruises and just keep pushing. The drill wave all started with Chicago back in the day, and now New York has their own version of it. It's known for the cold bars, dissing dead ops, and sending shots at the ones who are still alive. But Dusty told Dirty Glove Bastard that he wants to switch up his message. According to him, his whole mentality changed since he got back active in the streets. He said back then, it was all about spinning on ops and avoiding the police. But now, it's about motivating and uplifting my You're gonna see a change in the music. We still gonna keep it treacherous, but with meaning. Before he got locked up again, you could already hear the change on tracks like Rain, where he said, and I know you're going through a phase. I'm just praying that you never gonna change. She asked me a question like, do I got kids? I told her, got 2 on the way. My baby boy will be here in March. My little girl will be here in May. Dusty also talks about guiding the kids away from making the same mistakes he made. In his Dirty Glove interview, he said he wants young dudes from his hood to set real goals for themselves and that you gotta have a little sense of direction. We born winners, but I still got a lot of taking L's in the hood, so we still working. It looked like Dusty was making all the right moves to leave the streets behind and take a part in the rap game. But then, in November 2022, he went to jail after pleading guilty.
It's always when rappers change directions that's when they just all of a sudden get in trouble. When a rapper decides to just stop talking about the things that are detrimental to our neighborhoods and to our people, that's when everything starts becoming, oh, somebody getting arrested for this, or somebody getting arrested for that, or somebody getting stopped for this, or somebody getting detained for that. That's always how it happens. Go back and look at some of the rappers who have stopped talking about like violence for the most and started like focusing on something else. It's the proof is in the pudding.
Charges is from 2019 and the other is from 2020, but it's not clear exactly how he caught him. On Thanksgiving, he hopped on IG and told fans that he was going to turn himself in.
So he in jail right now.
Getting locked up right before you can turn everything around is tough. But it seems like Dusty is handling the situation all right. Back in December, he posted a couple of jail pics and said, "Alive is the best place to be. They locked me physically, but my mind is free. I appreciate the love and support.
When he gonna get out?
Free me." It's not clear how long Dusty will be there, but he has a mandatory minimum of 1 year and a maximum of 3 years. It don't seem like the charges are that serious though, so he might be back on the streets before 2023 is over. And while his name isn't buzzing as much as it was when he dropped Rolling and Controlling, there's still plenty of room in the Brooklyn drill scene for him to come back and get it popping.
I mean, yeah, man. if he come back and he just like stay focused and do his best to chase, like stop chasing that street, that violence in the street thing, and just change up his music, do some motivating rap. I think people will pay attention to that, bro. Like that that violence is all too violence in music is just all too continuous, dumbed down, watered down sound that continues to just berate our airwaves. It's like literally a spiritual hell, if you will, maybe. Like, I don't understand how people, like, in this new skin that I'm in, like, I don't understand how people just sit up there and listen to that. Don't get me wrong, I used to be one of those people who would sit up there and listen to all of that violent stuff, man. But it's like now in this free state of mind that I'm in, it's like I can't even bring myself to like sit there and listen to any of that anymore because it's just I don't know. I can't really relate to it for real, for real. I can't sit there and like enjoy myself to something that is just like not me for real in real life. When I wake up and I leave my house and I go do something that could potentially change my life, I don't want to be listening to that, you know? But shout out to dude. Hopefully he gets out soon and he can make some music that really uplifts those younger cats in the street, who are just looking for a voice of reason.